All right, here we are again, and this was the assignment I've been talking about where this is probably either my favorite or second favorite assignment to work on in this class, but I'm just going to say favorite because the other one is their final projects, which didn't necessarily have to be Android related. So it's an ad- well, our options were either advance on the calculator, advance on this, or do something completely different. And I decided to advance on this. So, just a quick mention first is that I have cleaned up a lot of the code and probably the most noticeable. That if you watch the last video, the last video with this project, the data model, this Pokemon model was named data model. So I did clean up a little bit, and there's a ton of different things that I cleaned up. It's just a bunch of small things, so it's kind of hard to remember them all. And the main thing of this assignment was intense, but I kind of didn't. I did end up using intense. It's just I didn't do them. Probably in the. I did a lot more, is what I'm trying to say. So I'll show it. It's working. So see how this is the same. Now if I go here and Bulbasaur is a good example. Now there's a visit website button. You can visit the website and then it an image shows up with a Pokemon and it takes you to the website. But of course, this is a new Android phone, so it's gonna give me a bunch of bloat. But there, it's the Pokemon. And guess another thing I should mention is before this read from a CSV file, and it still does. But what I actually had to do was see here now there's a link section. So I built a separate program, which I'll pause to show in a minute to get all of these links and basically build them properly because pasting a bunch in there would be boring. So I made it so it could see it's the Pokemon numbers, Bulbasaur's 1, Ivysaur's 2, Venusaur's 3, but then Mega Venusaur is a separate entry, so I had to like make different cases to do that. So that's just a small thing in the grand scheme of things, but it's just interesting. I find that I had to make a separate program to do this for me. So I'm just gonna show that really quick before I get back into this. All right, here's the program that I used to make the CSV file. Like I mentioned before, it was one that I found, but for my purposes, I needed to do this. So it's basically just a bunch of different cases. So here's the standard string, and then if there is mega, then that's how you add the M. If the name contains mega, but then there's two Pokemon that have mega in the name that have to be ignored. And then of course there's has to be two Pokemon that have two mega evolutions, so you have to add the dash, you have to add the X or the Y to that M. And then primal, which is the same thing but kind of different. You have to append that, and then that's kind of uh, that's kind of how that works. It's a pretty simple, but it's kind of annoying to find out what all the different cases were for the different types of Pokemon, so that the link would work to the image because it's a Cerebi.net, which is a pretty popular Pokemon website. But back to Android here. Uh, the only big changes I made were in the main activity. I'm just kind of spouting off the head here. I think what I might do is clean this up a bit. Just have this in the center as like a personal project, and then have this be some sort of a tracker. So just be able to track different Pokemon, and also the database also keeps track of the image as a blob. So I did change that, which is a big change. Forgot about that. So if I believe it is in, yes, in the DB class. So yeah, image call. So that's the image, and it's uh, binary large object. So basically, it's kind of store lots of binary data. In this case, an image. And then go back here. So that's how the image is stored, and this is how we get the image. We open up a connection, uh, connect to it. Or this is just the variable, and then this is actually connecting to it. Uh, the do input is what it lets it read data from the URL. Then just do a quick check to make sure it's an OK status. And then we open an input stream, and we're getting a bitmap. So this is the stream, and then we'll just stream of data and put in a bitmap factory to save it as a bitmap image. And then we just convert that, or well, compress it to a PNG. See bitmap.compress. And then here's a catch just for any errors. And then here's where we actually use it. So I'm just finding it's probably down here because it's in the expanded version of this. So on click, there's the intent, which takes us to the website itself. And that code there is what gets the image from a website. So they're two separate things. And then there's a coroutine here, so it's on a different thread. Uh, then fetch the image bytes, which is that method up there, from the link, which is in the database, which read from the CSV file. Then, as long as the image bytes are not null, we update the image. I mentioned this last time. It's by name because every name is unique, but you'd want to use ID normally. And then find image by name, and that's how we'll get that's a variable for down here, which is how it gets thrown up on the page. So if that image state is not null, then we let its bytes be the bytes of the image. Else, images it doesn't show anything on screen, but it does show in the logcat to let know that it didn't work for whatever reason. And then I guess I'll show that it does save to the database. I'll just first I just want to show another one. The website a little bit slow because on the emulator. And then if I reload, those two will still have images while the rest won't. And after that, this video is probably done. So here, Bulbasaur, the image is still there. Mega Venusaur, the image is still there. And then normal Venusaur, no dice because it isn't there before. So yeah, that's a program, or goodness, Android app that I made. Probably my favorite Android app that I've made. And might do stuff within it in the future to make a Pokemon tracker. Maybe I'll put a search function up there. But yeah, that's about it for this. Have a good one.